And joining us now on the Black and Gold Banneret to preview the track and field team for the 2024 indoor and outdoor season. I'm being joined by team head coach Dana Boone. Coach, how you doing this spring?
I'm doing well. Can't complain. A little chilly, but doing well.
I'm sure that'll change within due time. At least you guys get to compete indoors to start off.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Yes.
So, so I remember our last conversation right after the NCAA championships, and one thing that I distinctly remember you saying was how you didn't believe that there was like a lot of changes with UCF's transition to the Big 12 beyond like the surface level stuff, like change like just a new conference and stuff like that. But now that we're kind of in it now, does it still feel the same, or does it feel a little bit different?
It feels the same, but just a little bit different. And I say that because my mentality has always been the same. Whether we're in the American or in the Big 12, we're still looking for national level performances and quality of people. So you know that mentality had never changed. But I think what I'm seeing from this team is probably the American has prepared us. We've learned how to be champions and learned how to handle the pressure and expectation of winning, and especially when you're the favorite. And so hopefully we bring that confidence into this new conference as we meet new challenges. Um, I feel good about the team. It's just like I said, it's just a new environment, but a lot of the things are still the same for us.
One other thing I remember talking about is how, this is going to be the last year of eligibility, I believe, for Renai and Latasha and that group that sort of
Yeah.
came in at a time where where your words, not mine. You guys went from hot mess to championship winning. Those were that group was was kind of that group to go from the bottom, and now we're here in a sort of sense. So now that that season has sort of getting started, what are you kind of looking for with with this senior group, and how do you feel about their development at their point in the careers coming into their last season?
Yeah, that probably was accurate, and they definitely were part of the transition of building a championship culture. And I still say the same. I'm glad that they returned with us to enter our inaugural season into the Big 12. I think their leadership, their experience will help us and give some of the younger people the opportunity to see what it's like to compete at such a higher level, and help that transition for the younger people that'll be there once they leave. Um, Obviously, I think my expectations are high for all of them. They've trained really well this fall. This is the last year. This is their last hurrah. There is no more eligibility after this. This is their time to line up and to shine. And so, big expectations, big dreams. They each have big goals. So I'm excited to see how the season unfolds.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask explicitly about Renaya and how she's been looking in her training this fall. I mean, she has really become like the face of UCF track and field over these last several years, and now she's going into her final season, mirroring her first year. It's an Olympic year as well, to kind of mirror the start of when we were first introduced to her when she first broke out. So how was Renaya's off season going, and how is she looking going into indoor season?
Renaya has had an incredible fall. The biggest change for Renaya this fall has been her weight room. Has definitely made some drastic improvements in the weight room. Has gotten a lot stronger. We've kind of been able to identify and fix some weak areas for her, and it has definitely translated into her running and sprinting ability as well as her hurdling ability. Still trying to, iron a few things out here and there, but I think overall, she's stronger and faster. I mean, she's training about as well as I could ask her to train this fall. So I'm excited. It's one of those things where I just want to line up and see where we're at right now. We'll go from there. But she had a really good inter squad meet this fall, and definitely showed the kind of level in which she's ready to compete at. So I'm excited.
As far as the longer distance sprint goes, you had yeah, of course, you had Kia Williams with with the first 400-meter dash entry in the NCAA championships. Latasha Smith, yeah, I remember you mentioning how if someone had told you that the 200-meter dash record would get broken that year, you wouldn't have believed them. But Latasha went and just crushed it. So seeing it's the fact that honestly these two runners are here at UCF at the same time, at least from a mid sprint perspective, is amazing considering how much they've succeed in that sense. What's it like to kind of see those two work together along with these other kind of like longer sprint runners in that 200, 400, kind of 800 category?
I think the beauty of watching Kaya and Latasha is just their development, seeing where they came from out of high school to see where they are now. And like you said, it's a very unique time to have two of those caliber runners on the same team at the same time. And so it's exciting, and I'm just looking forward to seeing those two compete. And I think what they have done and how they help is the training group and their experience and being able to try to pull some of the others along, and kind of tell them, hey, we've been there, because sometimes when you see the finished product, you forget where you started from. And so you have some freshmen that are like, how am I supposed to keep up with them? I'm like, well, they didn't start like this, they were just like you. And so watching the development and seeing what they bring to the group has been a positive change for sure. You mentioned the middle distance. We definitely have some newbies coming into that event area. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to transpire in that event area. So yeah, I mean, the two groups right as of right now don't train together, the long sprints and the 800, but hopefully we're going to join forces here shortly and get some good speed work for both of them on a workout, and prepare for our indoor season and get ready for this conference championship.
You mentioned how like Beyonce last time we talked, Beyonce DeFrayes, she served as a great, I believe it was the third leg for you in your 4x100-meter relay for a long time, and now she is of course graduated out of the program. I saw you brought in a transfer from BYU that did very well with their 4x100 relay team. So I know you really kind of love talking about love with 4x1 and how that about, and I know we remember we talked about the record last time. So what has it been like now? We're kind of once again rebuilding this 4x100 relay team for another year.
Well, it's always a challenge. You always say, gosh, do I have all four legs that can line up together? Because I really felt last year was a very, very strong team. And if that was the team, I would have guessed that would be the team to have broken the record. But at the same time, you have to show up on that day and everybody's got to do their job. And so sometimes it doesn't work out. But the beauty of the 4x1 is you just never know the combination that's actually going to put it all together. And so I'm still confident that Renaya returns for her last year. She ran a heck of a second leg on the relay, and I'm pretty sure we'll be able to piece together and find the right order and put everybody in the right place, and find our way back to the national championship. And hopefully along that journey, the record will go down.
Of course, going from the sprints to the fielders, Ashura Collins coming back after that performance at the NCAA championship, second team All American. When you look at the field groups, obviously you do take a little bit of hits there. Jasmine Scott Kilgo has graduated out. Adrian Adams has transferred, but you got Ashira coming back. So what's kind of have you seen with Coach Smith and the field and the field players coming into this season?
I think that they'll continue. to showcase their talents. I think Ashira is definitely going to continue to develop, and she should have a really good year. That's always the plan. We have a couple young freshmen that have come in, and looking forward to kind of seeing their development as freshmen. I think the multi group will be strong. I think training is going really well for them, and they'll be consistent and solid. So that's what I think will always be come from that group, is the consistency. So even though we lost somebody else will step up. That's the beauty of this team, is just when you think you count us out, somebody else finds a way to excel and find their little niche that helps this team elevate. So that's what I love about each and every one of these athletes on this team, and my coaching staff.
Speaking of that coaching staff, it expanded a little bit this year. You brought on Jasmine Graham, who I believe is going to be assisting you with the sprints, if I recall correctly, and then you have a new distance coach with Brian Harmon. What was it like bringing them into the fold? What do they bring? What do they bring to this coaching staff?
It's always nice to bring new energy in, you know. It's been fun, it's been exciting. They just have a different perspective. It's always nice to get a different perspective and kind of see things from you know, when people are on the outside looking in, and then they get in, they can kind of give you a different viewpoint of things. So it's been very helpful having the new additions, and I'm looking forward to seeing them progress and how they can help continue to build this program.
And then of course, speaking of distance, last time we talked, you said you would hope that distance would make a difference this season. And this time around, not only do you have Isabella Richardson coming in for her sophomore year, but you also have Charlotte Crook coming back from injury last year for her final year of eligibility. So what have you seen from the distance runners this offseason? And do you think that they can still make a difference for this team this season?
Here's what I've seen from the distance group. I've seen a lot of growth. You know, it's hard to measure that sometimes when you're, you know, we're in a pretty steep distance conference now, you know. Having switched conference, you're now running against, you know, some of the top 5, 6 in the national, you know, in the NCAA. So sometimes your development or your progress can get a little lost. But if I'm just looking at development of the talent that we have here, I would definitely say we're moving in the right direction. Saw a lot of PRs this fall cross country. A lot of work has been done. So I'm looking forward to continuing to see that progress. The foundation has been laid through cross country, and they had a solid season. And so now it's time to showcase and see what we got on the track, you know? So
we talk about Renaya, Ashira, all these athletes that make it to the NCAA championship. But of course, you had a lot of first timers in that crop last year. So who do you think has the potential this year to break out and potentially join and potentially also make their first NCAA championship, whether it's indoor or outdoor this year?
oh man, that's a tough question, you know. You know, I honestly, we have so many new people, and until you see them compete, until you see them in the mix, it's hard to say. I think the usual suspects are the usual suspects, you know. But as far as the new people, I mean, we do have some transfers, with which I would hope, you know, could make that transition. But you know, I feel more comfortable after seeing my team compete in a meet or two, before I put any predictions out there. To be fair.
That's fair. I mean, you got your first couple meets starting very soon in Gainesville and Louisville, respectively. But this indoor season is particularly interesting for you since you get to make not one but two homecomings to Lubbock to compete at Texas Tech, where you were right before coming here, Corky Classic on the 20th, and then for the Big 12 championship later on. What does it mean to you to kind of have that opportunity to go back to Lubbock a couple more times after so long?
Yeah, we went back last year, so we went back last year, and so that was definitely kind of my first time back since having left Texas Tech. It's always good to see your former coworkers and athletes. Lots of hugs, lots of hey, how you doing? So it was a great experience. But this is a business trip, and now it's nothing personal. It's like, hey, we're trying to line up with the best of the best. And when we see you at conference, there's nothing but love. But when the gun goes off, we gotta each handle our own business. And so I just want my kids to go there because it is a different environment, a different type of track, a much steeper bank and everything. I want them to go there and be able to have that experience before the conference championship, so that we could take out some of the unknown factors and the wow factor of, oh wow, these ramps or these banks are kind of steep, yeah, and running at altitude, there's always a little bit of a difference, and getting used to that as well. So I'm excited. It's always good to return to a place that you're familiar with and you have connections to, but at the same time, we will that'll be our second meet, and we'll be ready to make our adjustments training wise after competing and getting ready for the rest of the season. So when we do return to the meet, we're ready to meet any challenge that comes our way.
What's the difference training a team for an indoor season versus an outdoor season?
I don't know that. I mean, obviously the race strategy is different when you're looking at something like a 400 meters. Your race strategy is completely different from indoor and outdoor. But in terms of the actual training, I mean, we don't have an indoor track because there's no need for us to have an indoor track. So our mentality is we're getting in the best work that we can get on this outdoor track, and we're going to be in such great shape, and we're just going to race ourselves into and prepare ourselves for the outdoor season. I always look at indoor as preparation for outdoor, and the better we set ourselves up indoor, the better outdoor season we can have. So, the goal is to do things we've never done before. I hope that everyone has a personal best. I hope that everyone goes into this and is ready to have high achievements. But as far as training, obviously it's different every time. When you're outdoors, a 400-meter track is usually a 400-meter track. I mean, normally, you might have longer straightaways or shorter curves, or long curves and short straightaways. But when you go indoor, week to week, it's something different, depending on where you go. The steepness of the track, the surface of the track, whether you're running at altitude or not running at altitude. I think indoor provides so many more challenges. And I actually enjoy the indoor season because of the challenges, because you have to rise and adapt. And there's so many lessons to be learned running indoor, whether it be on how to run on the bank curves or not, but there's so many different indoor tracks, from being 200-meter flat to oversized tracks, that there's so much variety indoors that it's definitely a fun challenge, and keeps you on your toes.
I remember back oh man, it was a couple of years ago, I believe, that I was talking to Renaya after she qualified for the indoor championship that year, yeah, 2022. And I believe I remember her saying that the indoor championship is the hardest NCAA championship to qualify for, because you don't have that prelim that you get with the outdoor championship. When you look at this upcoming indoor season you're starting with, do you think Renaya has a chance to get back there? Latasha made it with her too. So you think that we could see some performances that could maybe get you guys back there?
Absolutely. I would 100% believe that she should make it back there, and we want to be in the finals, and we want to be, one of the top contenders. That's always going to be the goal. And from adversity, comes your motivation. So things didn't go as well last year. She had a rough indoor season. We were talking about that the other day. It was an up and down indoor season, and the fact that she actually made it to nationals, I tell her is like that's probably a little short of a miracle because we struggled a lot indoors. But I'm very proud of her focus and her determination and the work she's put in this fall. There were some times I'm sure she wanted to quit based on the workouts and looking at me like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "You got to do this." I'm looking for big things from her, and I'm excited for her. I think she's really focused and highly motivated. So I'm looking to see what all of that means.
Does it also kind of give some motivation for like not just Renaya, but for the entire team that it's once again an Olympic year? We got Paris coming up soon.
Yes, always, everyone always has Olympic dreams, and she's been to the trials and she missed the finals by one spot last time or two spots, can't remember. But you've had 4 years to mature and to learn, and so yeah, I'm sure it's a lot of people's dreams and goals for the season. But it is just like indoors, the toughest collegiate meet to make. The Olympic trials for the United States is one of the hardest teams to make. So I just look forward and hope that what I can do as her coach is to put her in the best position for her to achieve whatever it is that her mind sets out to do. So
You mentioned how I mentioned at the top of this how Renaya and Latasha and that group of athletes have been here from like the quote unquote hot mess, the championship winning stage. But you were at the head of all this during this time, and now you're kind of entering like almost like it's almost like the end of a coach's first recruiting cycle, And so, what does it mean to you to have gotten to this point with the program? Sure, it's a new conference, but you're also in the last years of these athletes that have really changed this program into something that can easily be the talk of the UCF athletics world.
yeah, it's bittersweet. You're gonna miss them. You remember them coming in as freshmen, as little baby faces, and now they're all grown up and they're nice young women. And I heard them talking at practice the other day, and some of the freshmen were like, "Man, this really is a really great team. Everyone seems to talk to each other and get along, and the upperclassmen kind of bring you in." And so as a coach, I'm standing there feeling pretty good because the mission has been accomplished, is to build a culture of which, everyone feels welcome, everyone feels a part of what we're doing. And hopefully those seniors leave a lasting impression on the new people and these underclassmen that'll be left here so that they can continue that legacy of that culture of expectation and high goals for this program. We definitely don't want to fall off. But yeah, those young ladies are going to be hard to replace. But as a coach, you know that this is what happens. We've actually been fortunate enough because of COVID to have it extended, because it should have been ended last year. Technically they would have been out of they probably would have been out a year ago or a year and a half ago or something. I don't know. So we've been blessed to have extended time. So that's how I look at it. And there'll have to be someone else that'll step up. There'll have to be someone else that'll come in and fill these shoes. No one could have ever imagined that when you sign these kids that they would have walked away and accomplished all that they accomplished, because the difference for this program and the difference for this team is we don't have all the number one kids in the country. We just don't. We have some talented kids, and we get out here and we work together to achieve our goals. And so we're a family for real. We're bonded. There's days when everyone loves each other, and then some days when you don't like your sister too much, or you don't like mom, is what they want to call me. So but at the end of the day, we all love UCF, and we all love being here, and we all love this environment, and nobody wants to lose what we've built. So that's the motivation, that's the focus, that's the goal, that's what will drive us into the next season, even when long after our seniors are gone. We don't want to be that group that loses what we built. So
Well, you don't have long before the indoor season begins with this field and distance crews going to Gainesville for the Jimmy Carnes Invitational, and then you and the sprinters going to Louisville, Kentucky for the Rob McCravey Memorial Invite. Coach, thank you so much for your time and best of luck with this season.